Happy holidays, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, this is SG and today we're going to be talking about my top 10 best movies of 2022. The Christmas tree in the back, it's so cute. Oh, I love it. Anyways, this year has been awesome for movies. There's been some highs, there's been some lows, but the list that I've compiled today, I'm pretty proud of it. I think it describes my taste in cinema pretty well. Yeah, I'm pretty confident about it. But just remember that movie, cinema, film, everything is subjective. I may not have the same list as you. You may not have the same list as me. And that is completely okay. Just keep it respectful. I actually want to know what your top 10 best movies of 2022 is. So as I said before, just keep it respectful. And yeah, so why not? Let's get right into it. So we are going to start with my honorable mentions. And these are the movies that almost made it. They almost made it into my top 10. So the three that I have in this category are Glass Onion, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and Banshees of Inisherin. So let's start with Glass Onion. I had a great time at the theaters when I was watching this. There were so many moments where I was laughing my ass off. It was hilarious. But it was not as good as the first one. That isn't necessarily a bad thing. Knives Out, the first one, was amazing. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I remember going into this, hearing that a lot of people really, really liked this one, that they thought it was as good, if not better, than the first one. So my expectations were high, my hopes were high. And maybe it's my fault that this movie is in my honorable mentions, but I walked out feeling a little bit disappointed. It's still a great movie nonetheless. It's just not as good as this first one. So that's why it's in this category. And then we have Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. As I said in my Letterboxd review, I love it when a movie about a swashbuckling cat talks about mortality and existential crisis. It's really good though. You should watch it. It's a great family movie, great for adults and kids alike. If you're a Shrek fan, you're definitely gonna love this one. And lastly, we have The Banshees of Inisherin. Everything in this movie is great. The directing, the cinematography, the acting, it's definitely a top contender for Best Picture, and it's gonna get so many nominations at the Oscars. And hey, if this was an objective list, it would 100% be higher, but this is a subjective list. So it barely missed my top 10. It's at number 11. I really like this movie, but it's at number 11. But now, we are going into my top 10. So at number 10, we have Triangle of Sadness. I went into this movie 100% blind. I had no idea what this was about. I just knew that it won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, and that's a high honor. So I was really excited for this one. Walking out of the theater, I was traumatized. If you're a very squeamish person, do not watch this movie, or do if you want. Just be prepared to press that fast forward button a lot. What I will say about this movie is that it's still at the forefront of my mind. It's so satirical to the point of being ridiculous that you can just never forget it. And I still hear Indel Wolken in my dreams sometimes. So this movie achieved what it needed to achieve, and for that, it's at number 10. And now, at number 9, we have Elvis. Yes, I put Elvis in my top 10. What are you gonna do about it? So Elvis is the biopic directed by Baz Luhrmann that details the life of Elvis Presley through the eyes of his manager, Colonel Tom Parker. First of all, Tom Hanks really creeped me out with this role. He looked unrecognizable. But what really carried this movie is Austin Butler. It seems nowadays that all you gotta do to win Best Actor is to star in a biopic. But Austin Butler's performance is just so captivating. He just embodies Elvis Presley for those almost 3 hours. This movie is just so enthralling. I'm a big fan of biopics, Bohemian Rhapsody being one of my faves. So I think that's why I really, really connected with this movie. But yeah, Elvis is number 9. And then at number 8, we have The Woman King. Funny story, I actually watched this movie accidentally. I had tickets for Amsterdam, but my screening was canceled. So with free tickets in hand, I was looking for what to watch, and then I saw that The Woman King was playing. I left the theater flabbergasted. After doing my research, I now know that there were many historical inaccuracies with this movie. So I suggest doing your own research before watching this one. But yeah, it was such a great movie. Everybody delivered, from Viola Davis to Hero Fiennes Tiffin. Yeah, I know, the dude from After. But it made me see him in a new light, okay? So give this movie a chance. It's very great. And that's why it's at number 8. And now, at number 7, we have the newly released Avatar: The Way of Water. This movie is the second installment of the Avatar franchise after the first one, which made over $2 billion and is the highest grossing movie of all time. I remember watching the first one in IMAX 3D when it re-released in September, and I remember really loving it. So yeah, I was excited for this one, no matter what the haters said. I know there's a lot of Avatar haters, but I was excited, okay? And wow, I know a lot of people say it, but the technological advancements of this movie are incredible. That's why the first one made so much money, because it was something that you've never seen before. So with this one, it's like, okay, we've seen it all. Like, we've seen everything. CGI makes it like you can do anything. But for some reason, this one continued. This one just, it's flabbergasting. But for a movie to have to be only seen in IMAX 3D does say a lot about its underlying issues. This movie isn't perfect, but for 3 hours, I was transported into the beautiful world of Pandora. So that is why it's at number 7. And then the movie I just recently watched yesterday, at number 6, is The Fabelmans. So this is Steven Spielberg's latest movie, which is a semi-biographical take on his younger years. And as a film lover myself, boy, did I eat this up. There's this one specific scene where the main character, Sammy Fabelman, he's presenting his war movie to his Boy Scout peers and his family. The main actor of the movie he's presenting is walking past the trenches, and the camera is focused on Michelle Williams' character, Sammy's mother. And she is in tears. She is just so moved by the specific scene. And that's what I love about movies, is that they can move you in every way. And this film really showcases the beauty of cinema and why us film lovers love movies so much. So yeah, that's why it's at number 6. Now we're in our top 5. This is where stuff gets really good, where it gets tricky. So at number 5, we have Everything Everywhere All at Once. It stars Michelle Yeoh as the owner of a laundromat where she gets thrown into this quest to save the multiverse. This movie is very unique. The Daniels have such a different, interesting style. But with all that science fiction, multiverse stuff that's thrown in this movie, at its core, you have a story about a broken relationship between a mother and a daughter. Everybody in this movie delivers career high performances. Michelle Yeoh, in that interview where she's like, yeah, this is the role that I've been waiting for all my life, this just solidifies how amazing her performance was. Shout out to Ke Huy Quan, whose resurgence really makes me happy for him. He is amazing in this movie, and I'm so excited to see what he does next, especially in the Loki series. Now, at number 4, we have Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I had to include a Marvel movie in this one, and why not include the best one of the year? The first Black Panther movie is such a good superhero movie, and this one has to follow in its footsteps, has to be stuck in its shadow. And in its core, this movie is about grief and loss. Ryan Coogler was thrown this impossible task of making a sequel to the first Black Panther movie, which impacted so many people's lives. And he had to do a second installment following the loss of Chadwick Boseman. The first scene got me crying my eyes out. It's such a rough, dark movie, but it's executed so amazingly. Ryan Coogler just does it. He just does it. Namor is one of my favorite villains ever. Tenoch Huerta nails it to a T. And that scene where they showed Talocan, I had wide eyes the entire time. I was just so captivated, so amazed by its beauty. Letitia Wright as Shuri, She carried this movie so hard. If her performance wasn't as good as it was, yeah, this movie would have crumbled. But thankfully, that is not the case. And then we have Angela Bassett. Her performance should not be overlooked. I would not be surprised if she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. She 100% deserves it. All in all, this is one of the best MCU films that honors Chadwick so perfectly well. And now at number 3, we have The Batman. I actually filmed a review and vlog when I watched the movie, and I don't know why I never posted it. So I'm just gonna read my notes that I did back then in March. Wow, the year passed by so fast. Anyways, you could tell that Matt Reeves was inspired by David Fincher's work, especially Seven. It's very much a crime mystery, more than a full-on action flick, but there's some incredible action sequences, like the car chase, which was just so impeccable. But this movie goes back to the core of the comics. DC Comics. DC means Detective Comics, and this is a detective movie 100%. It's more a Batman film. Bruce Wayne gets sidelined in this one, but hopefully in the next installment we get more Bruce Wayne. Speaking of Batman, Robert Pattinson, favorite iteration of the character yet. And there's been a lot of notable performances. When the casting news came, Twitter went crazy, but no one had seen The Lighthouse. Like, no one who was complaining had seen The Lighthouse. If they had, there wouldn't have been that much complaining. And also, no one can say that after watching this movie, that Robert Pattinson wasn't the perfect choice. His suit is also fantastic, the best one yet. Then we have Catwoman, Selena Kyle. Zoe Kravitz is amazing, sly, cunning, dangerous, clever, all qualities of Catwoman, which she embodies. Riddler, I know that Heath Ledger's performance was once in a lifetime as Joker, who is the best, most iconic villain of all time. Like, no dispute, no arguments. Paul Dano's performance as the Riddler was remarkable. Paul Dano has been having an amazing year, by the way, with the Fabelmans and with the Batman. I really like him. I really like him as an actor. So I'm excited to see what he does next. And then we have Penguin, Colin Farrell. He was just unrecognizable as the Penguin. In the select scenes he's in, he's definitely a scene stealer. Definitely hyped for his show coming in HBO Max. Colin Farrell has been also having a great year so far with Batman and with the Banshees of Inisherin. You know, the villains in this Batman movie had a great 2022. So excited to see what both Paul Dano and Colin Farrell do next. And now at number 2, we have Top Gun Maverick. So this movie follows Maverick coming back to Top Gun after 30 years to train a new group of graduates, one of them being the son of his best friend who died. I remember watching the first movie, and it was okay in my opinion. I didn't really get the hype, so my expectations for the second one, they were pretty low. Usually I'm a sucker for nostalgia bait. Like, I know a lot of you think it's a cheap way to make money, but I love these movies, okay? Especially when they're done well. And this one is done well. It wasn't just a clone of the first movie. It was a movie where it happened to have a prequel. It added something to the story, like characters who you could connect to and empathize with. BTW, shout out to Miles Teller. He is amazing in this one. That rooster scene where they're all out on the beach had me in a choke hold. It still does. And I Am Worried is still in my playlist. Was in my Spotify Wrapped, no shame, was this song of the summer. And after years of not having a movie of the summer, this wasn't the one we expected, but the one we deserved. And now at number 1, we have Spider-Man No Way. What? We can't do that one? But it came out in December. It's close enough. Still? Well, I was going to talk about the re-release anyway. It doesn't count? Oh well. Anyways, at number 1, we have Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Yeah, you guys didn't expect that, didn't you? Let me explain myself, okay? You know the movie Up, the one where everyone cries at the beginning of the movie? Well, this was my up. Instead, I cried at the beginning and at the end of this movie. Basically, this film was why Guillermo del Toro is right about everything and why he's like one of the best directors right now. The animation is just breathtaking. The decision to use stop motion was one of the best ever made. Yeah, let's talk about the stop motion a little bit more. Some of my favorite animated movies are stop motion, like Fantastic Mr. Fox, and now this one. It's such a unique animation style. Like, sometimes CGI can feel a little bit superficial when it's not done right. But to just go back to the roots of what made animation such a beloved medium. Animation is film, by the way. I agree with what Guillermo del Toro said. Animation is film. I'm pretty sad that this movie isn't getting as much love as it deserves because it's such a great one. And honestly, I didn't expect it to just be my number one. It's just so timeless and beautiful. I absolutely fell in love with this movie. That's why this takes up my number one spot, because it's an amazing movie and I hope you guys watch it. It's on Netflix. Go watch it. Come back to me when you have watched it and let me know, because it is truly amazing. So yeah, we did it, guys. That is my top 10 best movies of 2022. What did you guys think about it? Are you guys surprised about my number one pick? Yeah, I was surprised myself, okay? Like, I did not expect it either. As always, keep your comments respectful. You know, let's talk about it in a respectful way. And yeah, hopefully right now, it is a Christmas time, so if you guys celebrate, hopefully you have a happy holiday, a happy day with family and friends and with love. And if you guys are watching this when it's not Christmas time or when it's like the middle of the year, hopefully you guys are having an awesome day. And yeah, that is it for this one. If you like this one, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. Thank you guys so much for this year, for 2022. It's been awesome. I had such a fun time filming videos. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the new year or whenever I see you guys. Bye-bye.